So let's go into a couple different examples of AI technology actually applied. Facial recognition is an easy example that comes up all the time. It's now at near human or better than human level performance, depending on the context. Anyone who uses Facebook can tell you that lots of AI is used to recognize faces, and it can sometimes go overboard into an interaction that maybe make people feel uncomfortable. Computers can easily recognize individual people along with emotion and even micro expressions that you might not be aware of that you're having yourself. Another example that I use all the time when I'm traveling on business is automatic text recognition. So if you're traveling on business, you might take pictures of your receipts to automate your expense reporting. And what the computer vision is actually doing is finding where the amount is on the receipt, transcribing that amount, transcribing the date and any other relevant information off the receipt to help facilitate and make expense reporting way easier. Before I started using this technology, it would take me a couple hours at the end of the week to categorize all of my receipts and do my expenses. And now I don't even set aside time anymore because on the go, I simply take a picture and it automatically works for me. Even more granularly, this is an example where computer vision technology using semantic segmentation can take every single pixel in an image and assign it to a particular object. Way more granular than just bounding boxes. You can say this pixel is belonging to this object, which is identified as a person or a car or a road. ImageNet is a prestigious computer vision contest where teams compete to recognize objects in images. Shown here is the error rate, top 5 error rate. And over the last 10 years, you can see that computer vision has gotten way, way better and actually getting sort of better than humans over classifying images. And you can see the difference in sort of older techniques and newer deep learning techniques, which are driving the improvements here. From an application perspective, you may use a computer vision in a social media use case. This is really common with big brands. They want to understand, hey, where is my brand being talked about online? You can't simply do keyword matching and search for Udacity and how often that comes up on Twitter. You might need to understand, hey, this is a picture of my logo or my brand that is being talked about, and take the corresponding text and do sentiment analysis and natural language processing to understand whether or not someone's saying something nice about this class or something perhaps a little more constructive. Similarly, speech recognition has had the same set of sort of step function improvements, which have led to products like Amazon Echo or Siri. I argue with my Amazon Echo all the time. My husband has installed, I think we have 3 or 4 Echoes in our house. However, unfortunately, Alexa doesn't recognize me all the time. It's because speech recognition is not quite there in terms of human level computation in real world environments. If you've ever been in a noisy restaurant, you can understand some of these difficulties. So if you're in a noisy place, what your brain actually does is it tunes out sort of the ambient noise around you, and it tunes into what the person across the table is actually saying to you. And this is something that is really difficult to teach a computer to do the same thing. There's been drastic improvements in the last 5 years, but speech recognition is still really tricky. If you perhaps speak English as not your first language, or you have an accent from the South or New York, or perhaps a different dialect or speaking style where the system hasn't had as much exposure and hasn't been trained on that, it can make the error rates really high. Another example is all different types of audio recognition, not just transcribing speech, but it could also be around recognizing mechanical failures by listening to engines. As you can see, here's what's working or here's what's not working. Natural language processing is yet another area that has made huge advances in the last 5 years. It doesn't demo quite as nicely as computer vision, but it's just as interesting. Techniques such as filtering out hate speech in social media platforms, or perhaps when you're reading the New York Times and you're looking through the comments and there's no sort of foul words there. Or it's making a recommendation based on what stock to buy, based on what companies are being talked about in positive or negative sentiments online. Here you can see is an example of Textio, which is an AI technology that gives advice on the quality of your writing and how good it is as you're writing it. I wish I had this in high school.